Good afternoon, and welcome to our question and answers for our call for innovation in the South and Central Africa Regional Innovation Hub. I would like to notify you that we're recording this session. This webinar is dedicated to providing information about our call for innovations. My name is Evans Chinembiri, and I lead an amazing team that makes the V4F Southern and Central Africa Regional Innovation Hub. In the coming presentation, my colleagues and I will share with you critical information about who we are, the call itself, and the answer to some of the most frequently asked questions that we've received regarding this call for innovation. Okay. I'll quickly go over the agenda for today's presentation. I'll give a high-level overview of the V4F Grand Challenge and then introduce the V4F South and Central Africa Regional Innovation Hub. I'll discuss the call for innovations focusing on the 6 elements. That is, the call for innovations overview, themes and targets groups, eligibility criteria, the timeline, and give details of where you can apply and the process to do so. Then we'll move on to our pre-submitted questions related to the CFI, and we'll answer those, as well as any live questions that you might come up if the ones that are not covered in the pre-submitted questions. Please note that we'll have a 1-minute survey at the end of this webinar, and we'll share the link in the chat box. And whilst we're still here, I'd like to take this opportunity to discuss a few housekeeping items. In this webinar, you'll hear and see the presentation, but you will not be able to speak during the session. Please use the chat box for any questions or any technical issues that you may have as we go through the presentation. So without further ado, we'll move on to the overview of the Grand Challenge. The Water and Energy for Food V4F Grand Challenge is a partnership between the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development and is implemented through GIZ. It's also a partnership with the European Union, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the Government of Netherlands, the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, and the US Agency for International Development. These partners have contributed a total of $19.5 million US dollars, and focus on supporting innovations that fall into these 3 categories. That is water and food, energy and food, and water, energy, and food. The hub, our hub, is looking to support innovations that operate in at least one of these 3 areas. Our approach centers on working with local stakeholders to provide market-based solutions to development challenges. By innovators, we mean organizations such as those you represent in this webinar, and that provide a service or a solution to a V4F Nexus challenge. We identify these innovators through regional competitions such as this call for innovation, and through these competitions, we extend technical and financial assistance to innovators, and where relevant, we work to mobilize external funding for innovators. We also provide capacity development and training for innovators, multipliers, financing institutions, and other stakeholders. As part of our approach, we deliver knowledge generations and create opportunities for exchange on water, food, energy linkages. This includes things such as collection of information and knowledge, reflection sessions, and fostering interregional exchange of lessons learned and success stories. Over and above this, we support the advocacy for water, food, energy issues to further enhance a better enabling environment at national, regional, and at global levels. The hub implements the V4F approach in 12 countries in the South and Central African region. So I like to think of this as SADC, Malawi, and Tanzania, and then you add Chad and the Central African Republic. It's a very nice, succinct way of putting into focus the countries that we operate in. We are based in Pretoria. The head office is based in Pretoria, but we are spread out all over the region. And we have committed to identifying and supporting at least 30 V4F innovators across the region. We're working with innovators in reaching a minimum of 1 million smallholder farmers, and with a focus of making sure that of that million, 25% are women. We're also committed to increasing investment to innovators by at least $7.5 million US. And in all the activities and all the approaches and interventions that we take, we are seeking to integrate gender, environmental sustainability, and base of pyramid interventions in all the support we deliver to our innovators. So moving on to a specific call for innovations. The hub supports innovative companies and organizations that work in the South and Central African region, and with the hope that we can help them expand their innovations and allow the smallholder farmers, our target beneficiaries, to produce more food whilst using less water and energy. Together with investors and partners, the hub works to scale mid to later stage enterprises that have environmental and social impact in the water, energy, food nexus. Through the V4F, innovators from the region can access financial support of up to 200,000 per innovation. They can also receive technical support and investment matching necessary to make food production and farming more sustainable, productive, and bountiful. Like I said earlier, V4F, we're looking for mid to late stage enterprises, non-profits with a for-profit program, and other organizations based in the Southern and Central African region that have innovative water, food, energy, and water, energy, food solutions. Applicants must meet the minimum requirements outlined in the call for solicitations, and which I'll speak to in the coming slides. The call for innovation will support innovations that are in the following 6 thematic areas. So the first is innovations in the food production to reduce water usage, innovations that foster the efficient use of water resources for food production, the sustainable use of energy and water on farms and all production systems, energy innovations for food processing and or logistics. This relates to cold chain related innovations or food value chain related innovations. Food production with efficient energy use, and leveraging food waste for energy. So these are the key thematic areas that we will focus on. The target organizations that we're looking to work with are legacy innovators that were supported during the previous grand challenges and have demonstrated potential for financially sustainable scaling and have been proven successful in the go-to-market phase. We'll also target private for-profit companies that are a major part of their business model and innovation addresses the nexus for water, energy, and food. We'll also work with non-profit organizations, non-governmental organizations, or universities which maintain their own budget and can generate revenue, and that can do this by commercializing an innovative product or service that addresses the nexus of water, energy, food. We'll also work with other actors that are identified on a case-by-case basis by the hub, which fit the criteria for the V4F and are crucial to the scaling of impact. Through our support for these organizations, we expect to target impoverished women and men, smallholder farmers, and others that are working in parts of the agricultural value chain. Specifically, our interventions will help organizations providing nexus-relevant products and services to reach women and the poor as commercial customers, equipping them with the means to achieve greater earnings and empowering the impoverished, greater social mobility. To participate in the challenge, all applicants must, firstly, be legally incorporated and registered, and be a legally incorporated and registered for-profit business and not-for-profit organization or academic institution which is responsible for generating revenue and maintaining a self-sustaining operational budget that is covering your own costs. And all these entities must have a substantial revenue track records of selling the water, energy, food nexus relevant product or service. With respect to size, we're open to all relevant organizations, companies that are ready to scale. We do, however, encourage applications from small and medium enterprises with significant proven past sales records of the V4F product or service. With respect to locations, the applicants must be legally registered in one of the 12 identified countries that I listed earlier on. And there's an expectation that grant awardees demonstrate some matching funds to a certain extent, at a degree that will be discussed later on. Over and above that, all of the organizations that we work with must demonstrate a direct and tangible linkage between water or energy and food value chains. The applicants must also directly or indirectly benefit the poor, that is offering opportunities for enhanced income or social mobility, and also contribute to gender equality, better management of natural resources, and strive for a positive impact on the environment and avoid the negative environmental effects. So what does a successful innovator look like? And a successful innovator will definitely have a financially sustainable business model. And will also have an innovation that addresses a water, energy, food nexus challenge. The successful innovator will also have a well-defined plan for expansion that has sustainability built into it, particularly into the fabric of the intended expansion. The innovator will also display an understanding of the local enabling environment for technology and will ensure that their design the product design has at the heart the end user in mind. The innovator will also demonstrate direct and strong benefits to the impoverished, with an emphasis on how this specific innovation will benefit impoverished women in particular. A successful innovator will also have an understanding of the environmental, social, and governance issues that showcase strong commitment to integration, and over and above that, have a gender balanced team that can scale innovation in a sustainable manner. We will not support innovators that fail to demonstrate a proven track record of sustainable sales and service delivery, and cannot demonstrate how they can ensure sustainable benefits in line with the V4F goals. We will also not support innovators that do not demonstrate a positive impact on the impoverished and women, or innovators that cannot demonstrate a positive impact on the environment. Over and above this, we will not support innovators that have a focus on research and development for a product without a clearly defined market or proven market demand. Innovators who have not reached a minimum customer base of 5,000 customers or end users per product or service for that. Sorry, I'll say that again. We will not support innovators that have not reached a minimum customer base of 5,000 customers per product or service for a product that's priced below $100, or innovators that have not reached a minimum customer base of 1,000 customers for those innovations that cost over $100. Again, we will not support innovators that are not legally registered in at least one target country of the 12 that I mentioned earlier on. We will also not support innovators that do not focus on agricultural products or services without a significant and sustainable water or energy efficient component. We will not support innovators that focus on sustainable water supply and energy access without an explicit benefit to the food sector. Similarly, we will not support projects that have innovations that have a focus on solar or wastewater treatment projects without an explicit benefit to the food value chains. Again, we will not support large infrastructure projects and innovators for which we will not support innovators for which the sale for the V4F Nexus products or services do not represent a significant portion or revenue for that organization. As we said earlier, government entities and individuals will not receive direct support through this challenge. So the timeline for the call for innovations represents itself like this. I think the key thing to note here is that we have a two-stage application process. The first one is the concept note stage. This is the stage that will help us shortlist the most promising applicants and helps us decide on who we invite to the full application stage. The full application stage is where we ask the shortlisted organizations to provide finer details about their innovation/technology. And once those stages are complete, we then move on to the video and teleconference stage where we will be speaking with the finalists. After this stage, we have the pre-award boot camp and the completion of the various necessary documentation processes. When we evaluate the concept notes, the focus will be on the following main categories. The first category is the viability of the innovation and by this, I mean the innovation description, how the innovation will provide value to the end users and how the innovation relates to the water, energy, food nexus. And this category has a weight of 35%. The second category that we will evaluate is the business and financial viability. This relates to the revenue and the plans for expansion, specifically speaking to the total addressable and potential market shares and the product and service costs. This category has a weight of 30%. The third and final category is the application and sustainability of the ESG principles in developing countries. This speaks to the location where the innovation will be deployed, the extent to which the innovator has the local partnerships, and how the innovator has integrated ESG principles and the impact of the innovation on the base of pyramid demographic. Again, this has a weight of 35%. Altogether, this all adds up to 100 and makes up the scoring criteria. So you might be wondering, how do you apply for this opportunity? I'll briefly go over the key steps that you must follow. The first is you have to review the solicitation document. This is an important step because you need to read and understand this document as it informs how you answer most of the questions that you are looking for. Most of the questions that you might have will be answered in this specific section. The second step is to review the eligibility criteria. You need to ensure that you meet the eligibility criteria as defined in the solicitation document. The third is to create an SM Apply account. And once you've done that, you then go on to review and complete the list of application questions. Please note that all applications must be submitted via the application portal. Submissions via email or any other medium will not be accepted. Applicants can save their progress on the application form by clicking the Save and Continue button and the icon at the bottom of the application when you're in the actual apply process. Please note that all questions that are marked with an asterisk are mandatory and ensure you fill them before submitting the application. Again, the submission deadline is the 4th of January 2022 at 1600 hours Central African time. And please note that the full application must be submitted before the deadline. So now we'll move on to the session where we go through our pre-submitted questions that we've received as we have opened the call. We have received a lot of Please bear with us if there are any questions that are in the chat, as we're going to start answering these and see if your question is not answered. Then once we understand that, we'll then get into the live question session. Okay, the first question: if we're based outside the target countries, are we eligible to apply? You're only eligible if you're operational or intend to introduce your innovation in the target countries. Question 2: how many innovations may I apply for under the same call? Applicants may submit up to 3 different applications for their specific innovations. Am I eligible to apply as an individual? The answer to that is no. Only registered organizations that are not government entities can apply. Question 4: is it required that the applicant must be the proprietary owner of the innovation, or can the innovation be from another company and the applicant wants to import and promote this innovation in the South and Central African region? The applicant must be the proprietary owner or be in consortium with the proprietary owner of the innovation. So if my company started in 2020 but already has the required client base, can I apply? Yes, you can apply, but you must clearly demonstrate that your company is a stable entity with stable and functioning operations and already has consistent sales and a client base of more than 5,000 customers. Is it the 5,000/1,000 customers? Is it 5,000/1,000 customers reached in total or for each particular innovation? So if you're a company with multiple products and you want to apply with one of them, you must demonstrate that you must demonstrate that your total client base related to that specific innovation and the potential to expand. Sorry, I'll take that question. I'll take that again. If you're a company with multiple products and you want to apply with one of them, you must demonstrate that the total number of customers you have in your client base related to that specific innovation is greater than the 5,000, 1,000 firstly, and that specific innovation has potential to expand to a greater customer base. Are innovations targeting biodiversity conservation eligible, or it must be a production system? If your innovation is only targeting biodiversity conservation without a financially sustainable business model, it is not eligible to apply. All applications submitted to the V4F CFI call for innovations must fulfill the eligibility criteria listed in the solicitation document. Does the impact have to be for women, for the poor, women, and the environment, or impacting one of them is sufficient? You will not be excluded if you cannot claim an impact in all the mentioned areas. However, the more cumulative impact you can claim related to the poor, women, and environment, the better the chances for your application being successful. How should a company deal with ESG, environmental, social, and governance criteria? You should demonstrate a basic understanding of the ESG issues, and you should showcase a strong commitment to ESG integration into your particular business model. Are SMEs that are fully owned by a larger holding company eligible? Yes, SMEs are encouraged to apply if they meet all the eligibility criteria and are financially independent with separate governance from the holding company. Can an NGO apply? Yes, NGOs can apply if they can prove that they are market-oriented and that their innovation is scalable and has a sustainable revenue model. Traditional NGO development projects that only seeking grant funding and do not have clients to purchase the innovation will not receive support. Are education and academic institutions eligible to apply for the CFI? Yes, registered educational institutions are eligible to apply for this call as long as they have a proven market, financially sustainable business model related to the specific innovation that they want to apply with. Can a governmental university be a partner of the group? Government entities are not eligible to apply for this call. However, a publicly funded university can take part as a partner or as a partner of the group / consortium, as long as it is not the lead institution. What is the acceptable range for matching funds? This is not fixed in the call and will be looked at a case-by-case basis. However, a high percentage of matching funds that is already secured or in negotiation will certainly be an asset and will definitely increase your chances of selection for the V4F program. Should financial statements be provided in English, or can they also be provided in other languages? Unfortunately, all documents must be submitted in English. Can a joint venture of two companies, SMEs, apply together to meet the application criteria? Yes, you can apply as a joint venture led by one lead applicant and demonstrate true partnership, clear role definition, and complementary aspects towards a certain product or innovation. And I think that brings us to the end of our pre-submitted questions. At this point, I just want to check with my colleagues if there are any questions that we received in the chat that are worth, that we can discuss at this point in time. I'll hand over to Christina first. Christina, if you're there, do I have any questions? Are there any questions for the group, from the group?
Hi, Evans. We've got some very specific business cases asking about eligibility. I want to encourage everybody to just go through the SCA application platform and check your eligibility against those criteria. And you can always forward your question to us. Gabrielle has also been fielding questions from Joshua and Liddy. Can I hand over to you, please?
Gabrielle, if you're speaking, your mic is on mute. Or were you handing over to me, Christina, or is it to Gabrielle?
Thanks, Evans. I was actually on mute. I was actually also trying to find the questions again. Okay, I think Liddy, was giving more of her business case that she would like to submit, and Christina has provided a link for her to go and apply. I haven't seen anything that I would say needs to be addressed here separately. And then in terms of Joel, he says that it seems that many of the innovations previously financed appear to have been smaller and in some cases closer to the startup or venture stage. Is it a constraint, or would this be dissuasive for V4F if, for example, we have a total financing package of over 10 million? And I provided the answer that all organizations need to meet the eligibility criteria. We are, for this call, however, not aiming to finance sort of new ideas or new startups. And the funding range for this is between $40,000 and $200,000 US.
Okay, I have 2 or 3 questions that have popped up on my end. Maybe I can read through those whilst you're looking for the other ones, okay, if that is fine.
That's fine.
I think I have one here that says, if I've applied last time under the Powering Agriculture Energy for Food or SWIFT, can I apply again? The answer to that is yes. Applicants from previous programs, other grant challenges can apply again. And then the other one I received is, can a social enterprise company registered outside of the country of implementation but have a subsidiary limited company in the country of implementation apply? The answer to that is yes. Then I've got one more. Will there be an even selection of innovators in the first round according to target countries? The answer to that is no. the applications will be selected based on how well applicants meet the set criteria. Although we would welcome an even distribution of applications across targeted countries, it might be that there might be several successful applications from one specific country, while there will be several countries with no selected innovators at all. So I think those are the three that I received. Are there any further questions that you want to flag?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Christina.
So Carlos is asking, what is the deadline for proving 1,000 to 5,000 customers? Is it December 2021?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just suggesting maybe if people are presenting financial statements that close might be earlier, but perhaps you have an answer.
Okay. With respect to the first question, I'm going to let Mashiri answer that one for that.
Thank you very much, Christina, for the question, and Carlos indeed for the question. I'm speaking through Evan's microphone here, but we expect you to demonstrate like your customer base, obviously, by the time you submit your application, because it's part of your application document that you are uploading. So in this case, our deadline is the 4th of January 2022. So depending on when you actually submit your application, at that point when you submit your application, you need to demonstrate in that application that you've got that customer base. Thank you.
All right, Christina, can you just repeat the second question? I think I sort of heard it, but I didn't quite catch it. Do you mind repeating it?
Okay, there's a new question from Admore. Would an innovation funded through the East and Central Africa Hub be eligible to apply to expand their current business, being supported in new geography?
Yeah, I believe the answer to that is yes, as long as that organization is registered in one of the 12 countries.
So a very clear question from Thomas. He's saying, possibly the question is answered, but how do I prove my customer base?
How do I prove my customer base? I'll let Mashiri answer that, respond to that specific question.
Thank you again, Christina. I think really it depends with what type of customers you have. It could be that you're proving through the sales you've made or that kind of thing. So it really depends on how you've been trading with your customers, and like how many products or components of your innovation that you've actually sold, or how many people you've reached with your innovation or your product, depending on what it is that you have. So I would say it could be sales, it could be the number of people you've actually reached with your innovation or product. So it really depends with who actually your customer is.
Carlos asks, what if you are a supplier and work with distributors mostly? Will the 5,000 to 10,000 customers for the company be the distributors of the end users? So I think what Carlos is asking is, can he claim his end user customer base?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I guess this takes us back to our initial case-by-case analysis as we are engaging the content. I would encourage Carlos to apply and make that case in his application. And then as we review the documents, we will then take a decision. But in my mind, as we're speaking now, that ultimately what we're interested in is the end users of the product. So yeah, Carlos, please go ahead and apply.
Carlos, we did have a question like this in one of the emails that we got. You do have an option also of applying as part of a consortium with one of the suppliers that you think, because you would need the data for the end users. Number two, I also think the number of products that you'd be giving to the organization that you're supplying for would be the same that they're distributing to their end users. So I think you would need to make that decision yourself in terms of applying as part of a consortium. But if you need to speak to end user data, then you would actually need to have proof of that, unless the other organization is going to supply that for you. But that's something for you to think about applying as part of a consortium. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriella. Adele asks, we have supply to both farmers and manufacturers. So we serve both the business to business and business to consumer market. Is it okay to provide breakdown by supply and demand side customer base?
Absolutely, Adele. That's absolutely Viral. Sorry, that makes sense. I think they're still your end users, and that would count both ends. Yeah.
Thank you, Evans. If anyone's question hasn't been addressed, then please just indicate that. Maybe just flag your message, and we'll see if we can get to it. Adele's just saying she's happy. Thomas is asking, can we also claim the impact? My products can be purchased by one, but can they claim the impact of a lot of people? Sorry, let me just see if I understand that question properly. Okay, Thomas, it sounds like you've got a very interesting product that has the potential to impact multiple people. I would definitely encourage you to apply and go through the application process, without having to go into too much detail on what your product is. I think we're all caught up for now on questions. We'll give it a few minutes. For those of you asking if the presentation can be sent to you, what we do is we post this video on the Water and Energy for Food Grand Challenge YouTube channel, and it'll probably be available tomorrow.
Okay. As we wait for more questions, I want to encourage our participants to quickly scan this QR code and then log into our Q&A, our quick 1-minute survey that we're taking. Essentially, we're just trying to see how we can deliver these type of experiences in a different way. Would really appreciate it if you take the time to just answer this. It's literally 1 minute. It's got, I want to say, 3 or 4 questions, and they're not, it's not rocket science. If you can, it'll make our experience better and improve how we deliver this. In addition to that, here is the link to the application site. If you have any more, if there are any more questions that are going to come up, or if you think of something a little bit later on, feel free to write us an email at V4F Africa, rih@tetrachek.com, and we'll stand ready to answer some of those questions. Christina, are there any new, fresh questions that have come in?
If you just bear with me 1 second, Evans, I think I'm going to post the YouTube channel for V4F. And if you can subscribe to that, you'll also get the immediate notification when the video becomes available. But we can also notify all participants when it's available. All the information that we've covered in this presentation is also available on the website link. And yeah, we hope we get as many applications as possible. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Christine. I think one key thing I want to note that the application process is really detailed. I'd strongly encourage you to start now. Go there, log in, start now, start putting in the work, start applying now, so that it creates, it'll give you enough time to go through all the questions, to gather the documents. It's a detailed process. I don't think it's something you want to do to leave until the 12th hour. So I really strongly encourage you to go log in, start the application process, and get a head start on this. Again, I'd like to thank you all for making the time to join us. If you have any further questions, please feel free to drop us a line in at the email address that I've just detailed below. Thank you so much, and goodbye for now.